Hi everyone, we are at the Florence Biennale, and today I have the honor and the joy to interview artists from Atlanta, Georgia, and his name is John Shelton. John, thank you so much for the interview and giving us the opportunity to get to know your work.
Okay, thank you.
And well, I'm gonna jump right in there and ask you, what are you presenting here today? Because this is incredible.
Okay, well, the painting is my interpretation of the Greek goddess Gaia in a traditional reclining pose that you would see in sculptural images throughout, history, especially dealing with Roman and Greco. This piece is black and white, which is showing some representational connection to the sculptural image. The image is also shown in three dimensions, three-dimensionally, in the sense as if it could be a piece of sculpture itself. You view the image from here, and then it's almost as if you turned and you would see the image from here, and then you got in another angle and you saw the image from here. This also deals with my interest in the multiverse, which is a theory in science today, which says there are many universes that are in existence. So you can think as if you were capable of and have been given the magical ability to see the multiverse. You could see the image crossing the many planes. I've studied art all my life, and this painting represents the many different artists that I have studied. And you could even say Picasso, George Braque, Kandinsky, to name a few. For instance, if you look at Kandinsky's, you can see the small lines. But if you study the images of Cubism, you could possibly find images as the face is described in here.
There's some influence here that I see.
From the Japanese.
Exactly.
The simple but very beautiful movement of line from Japanese art. So in this image, you could even find relationship to American Impressionism, possibly, or no, not American, but European Impressionism. The Impressionism that came into existence in the 1860s, that you would see depicted by Monet, Gauguin, and artists later on. You would see the images many times behind their paintings, and then sometimes they would change the attire of the subject, and you would see these Japanese images. I'm also interested in the movement of the fluid movement of line. So in this piece, we would see the lines of the drawn image moving throughout, but not put on in a haphazard manner, but sort of very deliberately placed in certain spots on the piece. If you observe some medieval and Renaissance art, for instance, the nipples are on the image there would be either possibly a hand near them, or somebody would be, coming close to caressing the possibly the breast. For instance, in this, you have the breast actually comes in contact right here, and then it moves here once again, and then it moves here. And so you have a sort of a movement of the image right here. For instance, this is very intentional, this line right here coming off and then connecting right here and then going off. And you see the breast is very deliberately placed with this other breast in connection here. Now this was also, the image was not exactly just painted in a quick manner, but thought out as I drew the piece. I started out with a live model, basically sketched the basic composition, and from there I used images I had taken of the model to get the correct shading. If you look at this from a distance, you will see the image as an entirety. But if you begin to zoom in, you can see there are many abstract forms within the image. For instance, you could have a painting right here. If you just dissected this little section here, you would have a painting that could be early 20th century abstraction. If you get into here in this image, this area right here, you could possibly get into geometric expressionism. From right here, you have multi-lines connecting and just sort of moving into this little sort of infinite space. The reason it's black and white is relevant to the movement in medieval art and Renaissance art, which is called chiaroscuro. The chiaroscuro is dark and light in combination, which would dark takes you into the image and white brings you out. So if I wanted the viewer in a certain area of the painting to come out into the image, in order to make the image move in a three-dimensional plane, there would have to be combinations of light and dark to bring it out into, so the person could see sort of what I was talking about.
So I wanted to ask you because I think it's really interesting for people to hear when they are in front of this type of work. There's so much technique, so much knowledge. How is your creative process? Can you share that with us as well, especially for the young artists who are watching?
Start the image, it would be very sketchy. And then I would take it home and I would start erasing parts of the image and enhancing other parts of the image to bring the balance of light and shadow, so that if you're looking at the image, you will, I'm directing you to see a certain parts on the painting so that you can see what I'm trying to give the viewer. For instance, a light area in this section would mean that I'm trying to emphasize that this particular image is, the knee is coming forward so that you can feel that this knee and this leg belongs to this figure right here. So if you can actually dissect each image separately, so each one of them could actually be 3 different pictures. But what I find intriguing is to try and incorporate the different lines and the different shadows into the image so that the viewer can look at the painting and sort of be immersed into the movement of line, so that you could see dark and light tones that would, some bring you forward and some bring you into the image. In some of my pieces, they're actually, the faces may be smiling, or they could be, one face may be smiling, the other face could be sad, or so I also experiment with, what is the viewer, what does the viewer sort of want to see in an image also? Do they want to see the entire relationship of art to the self, or the emotional self? Okay.
Can you share a little bit about where you are living, where you have your studio, before we go?
Yes. Well, I was originally born in Columbus, Georgia, and I lived there much of my life. And basically, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia for many years. And from Atlanta, I moved to a small little town called Grantville, which is a little south of Atlanta, about 50 miles south. There, I basically restored an old Victorian bank, which was in the style of neoclassical Greek architecture. It's a marble building, a very beautiful marble building, and there I find inspiration in the sense that it does have some connection historically to, the antiques of the world, and I made the studio to my liking, and that's where basically I do my work and find inspiration. I live around the corner from it in a Victorian house, also built in 1892, and it's been a lifelong project, basically restoring these properties and back to where they were in the period of those eras. So that's really so.
Well, thank you so much for this incredible opportunity, and we look forward to visiting Georgia. We have to go visit you in your studio. All right.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thanks everyone for watching.